wabarakatuh. My name is SHAFIQ NAZRI. My metric number AA200565. Okay, now I would like to explain about objective of Plaster of Paris MOHD. Okay, first to learn about the Plaster of Paris casting. 2. To produce a mold from Plaster of Paris. And lastly, to determine the volume of procedure need for Plaster of Paris.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is KHIDIR HUSSIN. My number metric is AA200716. And today I will explain about the introduction of Plaster of Paris mold casting. So, Plaster of Paris mold casting, sometimes just called plaster casting. It uses a mixture of gypsum, strengthening compound, and water to create a mold. The plaster used is not pure plaster of Paris. Instead, it has additive that improve green strength, dry strength, permeability, and castability. As an example, talc or magnesium oxide are often added to prevent the cracking and reduce setting time. The plaster pattern is made of metal or sometimes rubber and is typically coated with an anti-adhesive compound to prevent it from becoming stuck against the mold. If the casting includes ventral angles and interior angles that is greater than 180 degrees or complex angular surfaces, then the rubber mold is flexible enough to be removed, unlike metal. These molds are also inexpensive, fast to create, reusable, more accurate than steel molds, and easy to change. Plaster casting fabricates products with a very smooth surface finish, allows for the casting of complex shapes with thin walls, can form large parts with less expense than other processes, such as investment casting, and has a higher degree of dimensional accuracy than that of sand casting. Next, we can look at other equipment and tools for POP. We must have plaster of Paris, ruler, water, pattern, sprue, and weighing scale. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYAHMI MARTIUS. My number metric is AA200709. Today I want to present about safety and precaution during plaster of Paris. The first one is wearing a personal protective equipment (PPE). All plasters and dry liners are required to protect themselves from hazards with specific protective equipment when working on site. This includes outdoor masks, shoes that are suitable for use on ladders, and protective eyewear designed to block airborne particles and flying pieces of plaster. The second one is working at height. Whenever you climb a ladder or work at height, stability is crucial in order to work safely and minimize risk. There are unfortunately a number of hazards directly linked to working at height, and there will always be an inherent risk. The third one is general health and safety guidance. All construction sites should undergo a full risk assessment, as well as identifying who will be responsible for the safety and well-being of the workers during the build. Next one is cold water should be made available to wash off the plasters. The next one is protect the eyes by wearing goggles. The reason to wearing the goggles is to block airborne particles and flying pieces of plasters. And the last one is wet plasters must be handled properly.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Iqram. My metric number is AA200607. I want to present about observation. Okay, in my observation, metal can be converted into a liquid or a solid when subjected to heat at a specific temperature. Because the metal become liquid, it will follow the form of the item. For instance, during the experiment, the metal filled the cavity space created to the pattern cavity. After some hours, it turned solid thanks to the decrease within the temperature of the metal beating on the ambient temperature. During the solid state, the metal is powerful, solid, and not easily broken. Plaster is definitely formed because initially the plaster may be a liquid. the liquid will follow the form of the thing is during the experiment. The plaster liquid are going to be poured into a container that incorporates a pattern. The plaster flow filling the container and leaving an area that includes a pattern or per the form of the pattern. This simplifies the work because it does not must be compressed like sand. However, the plaster takes time to show solid. Plaster is additionally able to withstand heat from the molten metal. Procedure. Step number 1. Prepare the ingredient and determine the water and plaster by weight. Number 2. To form sure the burden of water we would have like the quantity of the pattern container must measure. 3. Mix it following the ratio 1/1/4. Number 4. Pour the mixture into the container of the pattern and stir it using our hand. Number 5. Remove the mold from the pattern after half hour to form sure the plaster was solid. 6. Process 3 and 4 must do at the mold for drag and coat part, and therefore the screw must put within the well have a pattern from the channel of the mold. Step number 7. After that, remove the part of isolate the pattern from the part after with towel method the spool. Number 8. Reconnect, drag and coat back, and also the mold are going to bake. 9. To get rid of any excess water, the mold is baked between 120 Celsius and 260 Celsius. Number 10. Then the molten metal is poured into it and watch for the molten metal hardness. Last, broken the plaster from the part and do the finishing process like cleaning, heating treatment and blasting, because usually the mold are going to be damaged from the metal. Thank you.
Okay, now I would like to explain about discussion of plaster of Paris mold. Okay, for the first question, why does the plaster of Paris harden on mixing with water? Okay, plaster of Paris is formed from gypsum. The gypsum is heated at 150 degrees Celsius and become a dry powder. When this powder is mixed with water, it is returned into a pulp and eventually hardness into a solid. The powder mixed with water is held together by hydrogen bond in the water molecules. Okay, for the next question, explain the difference between plaster of Paris with sand casting. Okay, plaster of Paris made from a gypsum and become a dry powder. Excellent surface finish and good dimension. Accuracy is required. For the lastly, the molding material is preferred of Paris instead of sand. Okay, for sand casting, measure molten metal aluminium. No limit to size, shape or weight of cast part. And the lastly, can be used for most metal. For next question, explain the difference between plaster of Paris with investment casting. Okay, plaster of Paris can stand with the high temperature, different in final surface and shape. For investment casting, can stand with the high temperature, not different in final surface and shape. Okay, for the last question, highlight the defect that you could find in your casting product. What type of visible surface defect exists on the plaster of Paris mold? Describe the cause and how to prevent it. Okay, the defect that we can find in plaster of Paris is crack. This defect can be overcome with the use of well-guarded sand. Next, the defect can be found is plaster is debonding. It is because the plaster excessively thick plaster layer, inadequate substrate preparation, or maybe due to a dusty, oily or dry substrate. We can prevent this defect with using a cement slurry or spatter dash coat before plastering and using bonding liquid or following the process. Then, the hardness is one of the defects. Is because the plaster may be too soft This defeat can be overcome with using the sun with exercise quantities of dust. Lastly, the defeat is poppy. Is because of contaminant particles in the mix, which when reacting the moisture in the milk expand and cause cavities in the plaster. We can overcome the defeat with file and hold with a proprietary filter and paint over. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you.
Next one is conclusion. The conclusion is, despite revolutionary advances in management, especially those of the musculoskeletal system, POP or plaster of Paris still remains very useful in carefully selected cases, obviating the need for unnecessary surgery with its attendant risk. And that's all from me. Assalamualaikum.